back to the 6th edition of the Blackhawk Report here in the fall of 2025. My name is Greg Norman, your host. Well, we're not going to get a chance to talk to Griffin Makrovich this week. He's off doing a number of things and staying busy. We do have a big show for you this week. We get a chance to talk to Brad Zuby about an unbelievable win against Lake Fenton, 29-28. Show you a little bit of video of that. And Griffin catches up with both the soccer and the volleyball program. Talk a little bit about those programs. And a big homecoming coming up next week after the big win at Lake Fenton. They're on the road this week with Clio. And we'll get back to that in a couple of seconds. And up next is Brad Zuby.
Wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. We're talking to Brandon varsity head football coach Brad Zuby, coming off a very interesting game that we're going to get into. You got to be super proud of your players, just the way they operated. When you win one like that, it can be a lift beyond belief. We're obviously in week 5. You finally get over the threshold at 3-2. Things are looking good, and talk about the win.
Yeah, like you said, very, very proud of our kids. They battled through a lot of adversity. Played a really good football game. We got out to a 7-0 lead. Gave up a long pass. They tied it up 7-7. We're going in to score before the break. Didn't go our way, through an interception. They brought it all the way back, and then we got a freshman playing safety by the name of Isaiah Dove. This is a tough kid. He's going to be a good player, Brandon, for a long time. And we really worked on what Lake Fenton likes to do with their crossing patterns, and it got down to where they only had a couple of plays left. We kind of felt it coming, and so end of the first half, we sent a double A gap blitz up at the quarterback, and he kind of panicked and threw the ball a little bit earlier, and never saw the Dove kid, and he picked the ball off on the 1-yard line to stop a touchdown drive, and then we were able to take a couple knees and get to halftime. 7-7 coming out of the locker room. And we, for whatever reason, I don't know, Greg, we might not bring the team in the locker room anymore, but because we are struggling in the third quarter. Came out in the third quarter, and they just popped a couple things on us quickly. Our offense stalled a little bit in the third quarter, and all of a sudden we find ourselves down 21-7. No panic, though. Kids didn't panic. Coaches held their cool. We trusted. We believed what we're doing. And kids came around in the fourth quarter, came back from 21-7 down, got it to 21-14, got it to 21-21. Our kicker kicked a great onside kick. Dimitri McNear recovered it. Go down, score. My offensive coordinator and I just kind of looked at each other, and we both been at it together long enough. We knew we were going for 2. Got it, 29-28, 7 or so minutes to go. And, got them to stall a drive out, got the ball back, and we were able to run the clock out. So very, very, very proud of our kids for a multitude of reasons. And, yes, we are 3-2 and looking forward to the next one.
Homecoming up this week, and we'll get back to that in a second. A couple quick questions. You've got 7:15 left in the game. I know you're going for 2, and I understand that. You had some injuries this week that you're going to hopefully kind of overcome for next week and go through it. But when you got 7 minutes and 15 seconds and you've been moving the ball, that's a pretty risky decision based on, and I understand that I may disagree on this. My point is that your defense has done a good job in the early part of the fourth quarter of stopping them.
Yeah.
And you've got a kicker you got a couple kickers that have done really well in terms of extra points. It is a risk. It's a Dan Campbell risky decision.
That's who we are. I guess who we are. I don't think our kids didn't bat an eye. Look, just like the Lions don't bat an eye when they go for it on 4th down. Our kids don't bat an eye when we go for it or when we go for 2. And we liked the play we had dialed up. It was there. If we didn't like it, we could have called a timeout and throw the kicker out there or ran something else. But with that much time left too, we figured we'd get the ball back, and we figured we could keep getting stops. And, we got a stop. We got the ball back, and it worked out in our favor. We didn't need it, but, we're going to take the points.
Okay, one thing you need to explain. A double A gap blitz is going between center and guard on both sides, essentially dropping 7 guys into gaps so that they've got 5 or 6 guys, even if they've got a slot, to be able to block. So it's putting a lot of pressure on the center and the 2 guards to figure out who they're going to pick up. Fair?
Right. Yep. And usually you can, we kind of call it breaking the dam, and we had enough guys to break the dam, and we kind of gave a false look with our outside linebackers. They showed like they were coming, but kind of leveled off, and they were a little bit in the passing lanes too to see through them. And I don't think he ever saw our safety there. And the kid just made a great play for a ninth grader. It was awesome.
So here's the last question on that, and just this is inside baseball. We always see quarterbacks at the NFL, the collegiate level, and maybe even really good high school level be able to have checkdowns when they know blitzes are coming.
Yeah.
Are high school coaches high school quarterbacks smart enough to know where to go with the quick out or whatever you're going to run off of that?
I think so. And I think he went to the right spot. We just kind of had it disguised on. I think he thought he was going to have it more open than he did, and we had a kid kind of waiting for it instead of chasing it.
Okay. And that's an in the weeds question, but when you see processes, you can see going to the quick receiver.
And honestly, their interception they had on us, we threw a halfback pass, toss back wheel pass to our quarterback that we thought would be uncovered, and they had a kid out there sitting on it themselves. So their kid did a nice job baiting us on one, and our kid did a nice job baiting them on one, and that's how we got to 7-7 at the half.
Last thing of looking at film, and that'll be it's on actually tonight, but we'll have it as part of this show. The game looks slow. The players look slow on both sides of the ball as compared to what they've looked. I don't think it's the video. Did it seem a little slow moving?
I don't know. I mean, we really controlled time of possession, and we've been trying to control the clock a lot these last couple of weeks and try to grind some things out. But I mean, our fullback had 35 carries. So when when one kid's got the ball 35 times and he's going for 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, then break one for 6 or 7, but the chains are moving, it's maybe not as dynamic of a game, and it limited their possessions. Lake Fenton likes more explosive plays, and part of our game plan was to not let them on the field. So
is this as big a win?
Maybe slowed the pace down a little bit.
Is this as big a win as you've had in a while? And especially not necessarily the score, but just from the heart kind of thing?
Yeah. Like one thing I tell my boys is, it's if we can end a game and I can look at these guys and just be proud of them. I was incredibly, incredibly proud of them for a multitude of reasons. And they really played for each other. They played as a team. They lifted each other up. Guys came in, made big plays where they needed to be made. Lots of different guys contributing. Like I said, Damian Watton, our fullback, 35 carries, 152 yards. Luke Hansen, 13 carries for 150 yards. Our quarterback, Albert Rowe, rushes 3 touchdowns in. A lot of different guys on defense. Dimitri McNear with 7 tackles. Dimitri McNear forces a fumble and recovers it. Gets the onside kick recovery. So just a lot of kids. Ben Sobek with 5 tackles, 6 tackles. Just a lot of kids making a lot of plays at big times for us. And yeah, when you win a game 29-28 and you got to pull some things off to come back, and you got to hold them off. And the quarterback at Lake Fenton is an outstanding kid. He's beaten us darn near by himself the last couple of years. So the kids really the seniors really, really wanted to beat Lake Fenton. We have not beaten them in a while, and the seniors really wanted it, and they willed us to that win, and with a lot of different kids contributing. So yes, that was a nice win for the team.
Quarterback had to be amazing, because if you're giving up 300 yards on the ground, your defense is pretty porous, to say the least.
Yeah, for us rushing for I think I got it in front of me. I think we ran for 317 yards, had 365 yards of offense. So did most of our work on the ground on Friday. But and we just our offensive coordinator did a really nice job mixing up the pace between the inside run and the outside run, and just finding what was there on the edges, and then getting them to overplay the edges, and then jamming them back inside. So it was a well played game, well called game.
When you're running for 300 yards, it's time on the clock. Your time of possession makes it easy for you. Obviously another big game this week. A much improved Clio team. You're on the road for their homecoming, and then obviously you return home for homecoming here at Brandon. But talk a little bit about Clio briefly, and they've improved a little bit over what they have been in the past.
Yeah, we're trying to be homecoming spoilers here. We spoiled Lake Fenton's homecoming. Now we're going to try to spoil Clio's. Yes, Clio is one of the more improved teams I've seen in a long time. For what they've done in 1 year, looking at the turnaround on the scores of the games from playing the same teams they played in 2024 to playing them in 25, they've completely flipped the script. They have a bunch of kids believing in their new philosophy, and their coaches in their second year. They have a very, very good coach at Clio. Very sound football. When you watch them on tape, they look like a very sound team that is ready to compete in the Metro for a while now. So we are very impressed with them. It's not the Clio of old for sure. They have a dynamic running quarterback. He can throw the ball enough. I don't want to disrespect his passing ability, but he is a run first kid, and if he gets loose on you, you're in trouble. Some nice complementary pieces. They have a tough H-back. They have a couple nice running backs. Their receivers get downfield pretty well. They have some good size up front. Defensively, a lot of kids just play sound ball and are in the right spot. So they are 4-1. So it'll be some playoff implications too. If we can get that win and get us to 4-2 and them to 4-2, we may jump spots with them in the playoff rankings. So start setting ourselves up for the rest of the season. So definitely a big game. It'll be a hostile environment at Clio. I mean, they're packing their place in. Their fans are excited about Clio football. They had a tough game against Goodrich last week, but we all have. So it is what it is, So
last question. Does a running quarterback in high school have the same effectiveness that it might have in college and the pros?
It's hard to say. I don't, usually the running quarterbacks in college, it's so much more spread out, and the passing lanes are a little bit different, and what they can do on the run, throwing the ball downfield too is not quite the same. But he's as dynamic of a running quarterback as I've seen in a long time, probably since I coached against West Bloomfield back in the day.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Good luck on the road this week. Bring one back to get to 4-2, and we'll have this conversation again next week.
I like the photo over your shoulder there of Sincere Perkins at the big house. He was a heck of a player for us back in the day.
We try to make sure my background is a little different every week.
Yeah, I like it. Well, thanks for checking in on us, and go Blackhawks.
It's okay. That's it. It's my little baby.
Welcome back to the Blackhawk Report. I'm here with Sean Lovelace, the head coach of the Brandon Varsity Soccer Program. Sean, your team is currently 6-1 in the league, and you guys are now number 1. Congratulations in the Flint Metro after your 3-0 win last night against Holly. How are you guys feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Just a small correction, though. We're 9-0-1 now in the league. So one game left. We've had some good ones lately. We eked one out against Flushing, who was in first place, and that brought us into first place, tied with Fenton, where we currently stand. They got to play Flushing tomorrow night, and we play Owasso, and that's going to determine the whole thing. So.
And, those are the top 3 teams right there, Flushing, Fenton, and Brandon, and they got to play each other. You guys are playing Owasso. Or do you think you're going to hold this number 1 position throughout the next couple weeks?
I do. I plan on being at least co-champions. Hopefully we'll win tomorrow and end with a 10-0-1 record, same as last year, and be back-to-back champions. Another interesting thing that we're proud of is if we do win tomorrow, it'll be 25 league contests in a row without a loss.
Oh, wow.
We have not lost since September of 23 in a league contest, so we want to keep that rolling best we can.
Wow, congratulations, sir. And what do you attribute that to? Is that just the kids' grit, or is it your defense scheme, or what's going on there?
Well, it's just been a combination of good players and all being on the same page and buying in and working hard, and it's paid off. And I think the more you succeed, the more the kids want to succeed. Last year, the Flint Metro League Championship was a big deal, but they also won the district championship, and we won the regional semifinal, and we lost in the regional final. So they were in the final 8 teams of the state. And once they see what they can do and they believe in themselves, they keep doing it.
That's awesome. And how far do you guys think you guys are going to go in outside of league play this year? Do you guys got any tournaments that you're going to participate in?
Well, the district play will start for us on October 13th. We got a bye in the first round because we had the best MPR in our district. Fenton was number 2. So we got good competition in the district, though. Goodrich is in there, Holly's in there, Fenton's in there. So you know how the postseason is. We certainly have goals we'd like to repeat and get back to the regional final, maybe the state semifinal if everything goes well. But in the postseason, as you know, one little mistake, one missed opportunity, and your whole season can be over. So
That's
we're going to
right. I know
prepare the
all too
best we
well.
can.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that, sir. And you got any stellar performances to talk to me about recently? Any kids you think really made their mark this year or really showed out?
Yeah, we've got a couple of them for sure, but I will say Anthony Maroli is tops. I think he just scored his 30th goal last night in our game with Holly. It was senior night. It was perfect. We had a 3-0 win, and I believe now he's got 30 goals and 5 or 6 assists. So he's definitely top in the league in the area. I mean, he's the guy that everybody knows, and he's just having a stellar season. Tristan Groom as a junior, we've played him up top. He's had his share of goals and assists. We've also played him in the midfield. And Owen Stone's an up-and-coming sophomore who I think has 8 goals this year, and he's been playing the defensive mid position and performing well. Our defense has been getting better every game, and our keeper, Brady Massey, it's his last year. He's been gone for a couple years playing lacrosse, but he came back, and he's just been knocking it down for us. He had a huge PK save in the waning minutes of our Flushing game, and that secured the win for us. So he's been stellar also.
There you go. I'm glad you guys are having so much good experiences in all aspects of the game. That's awesome, Sean. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Blackhawk Report. We hope you can talk to us in about 2 weeks and we'll catch up.
We'll be here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Military families often sacrifice precious time away from loved ones while serving our country. United Through Reading provides meaningful connection, so the magic of reading isn't something that happens once upon a time. To learn more, visit unitedthroughreading.org.
I'm back with Taryn Miniger, the head coach of the Brandon Varsity Volleyball Program. Coach Taryn, we've spoke at least a month ago, it last was, and you guys have played tons of games since then. And we left off, you guys were on a 6-game losing streak, turned into a 7-game losing streak after we had talked. But you guys completely flipped it around to a 180. You guys have won now 8 out of your 9 last games, only letting up 2 losses in sets. What happened? What was the big change?
I think it's normal when you have a, sort of, varsity team that you're, piecing together from, JV squad from previous years and so on. I think they just have to get to know each other. And a lot of it has to do with rotation. And, I take accountability for some of those losses in the sense of, me trying to figure out the right rotation to get the best out of them, right? Like, how do you put the right people next to the right people so that you're maybe getting more production out of someone who isn't quite as skilled or talented when you put them next to somebody who's a little bit more skilled or talented, right? So
Right.
how does that increase the performance range of each of those people trying to build each other up? And so I think we found, a couple of the right rotations that seem to be working for us. We had a great tournament at Kersley where we won the entire thing. So I think it produced a lot of confidence, coming from them, like, okay, wait a second, we can do this. And then, just really getting them to understand that, in so many of the cases that we lost, we were just as close to winning as we were to losing. And so how do you get them to really dig in and find that grit to take them to the finish line? And that's what they're starting to figure out right now.
That's so cool. I'm glad you guys didn't get discouraged. I know you mentioned that the girls were in high spirits even during the losing streak. I'm glad to hear that they've all just come together and you guys have been able to rally for such a great finish in the season. You guys were 6th overall, I believe, when I talked to you. Now you guys are 3rd overall in the Flint Metro League. Have you guys had any breakout performances since we last talked? Anybody that's really caught your eye? Anyone you feel like you should give flowers to?
Well, we have a lot coming up for the league, right? So we had there was a kind of a family emergency out of Clio, which kind of rescheduled our normal league game from last week, and it's moving into next week. So really between today and then the next 2 weeks, we sort of replay all of our league games again. So I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 playing dates in the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
And one of them is a tournament. So we still have a lot of opportunity to continue improving our overall record and also our league record. So I think that it's interesting because normally it's very easy for me to point to one or two players and say, "Oh yeah, these people are really carrying the pack." But
Sure.
it's really not like that this year. I think what's really great about this group, and they're just so fun to coach, is that they really, really like each other. They care about each other. They care about their successes. The people on the bench that may not play as much are super supportive. They're constantly cheering. And so the overall vibe and feeling is just a really good one, which I think helps is that those, normal standout kids want to see the rest of them doing, just as much in performing. So if you've got, one or two kids that's sort of having a rough game or even up to three, it's like the others on the court will sort of notice it right away and they'll rally around to support it. So very rarely are we seeing, 6, 7, 8 kids on the court having a bad game, which is really, really helpful. Standout always, I think, is, Presley Hansen is super effective. She's a kid that is, a real force at the net and, definitely draws attention from other teams. I think that, Anastasia Brentnall is making a huge debut this year. She's somebody who's been on varsity for a few years, but has really been standing out this year as a supportive and kind and aggressive player, which has been great. From our, we've also got, Brooke Roberts, who has never been a libero before, who we have serving as a libero this year. And that's kind of been one of our challenges is really having a lib that is ready to go from the time they're a sophomore or a junior. So we've done a lot of converting as seniors, and honestly, all of them have done a great job. But Brooke has been standout because she's just such a great, quiet leader. She leads by example. She works really hard, and where she, maybe can lack sometimes in skill or ability, she makes up for with passion and drive and just really big plays. So it just creates a lot of energy. And then from our juniors, I think we've got a really good group coming up and, Nyla Faye, Marin Painter. I mean, these are all kids that are, really taking the force of this great group of seniors and looking to build on it and, and continue that culture. So we're really starting to see that stand out.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you guys have such passionate players. I'm glad everyone's developing and getting along well. You guys are building it from the ground up. I know you mentioned it. Getting onto them as early as freshmen is important to build them into your varsity program. So I'm glad to see that everyone's developing. Talking about your next games coming up, Goodrich is up next. Last time they're currently #1 in the league. They're undefeated right now in league play. Last time you guys played them, you lost 3-1. How are you feeling about playing up against Goodrich?
I think good. They're a great team. Them and Lake Fenton are always, tough wins. And there's definitely a history in Brandon of this feeling of, well, we never beat Goodrich. And I think the girls are feeling like, yeah, we need to play our very best to have a shot at this, but we're willing to do that. So we'll see how it turns out. It's strange. We always seem to play them better away than we do at home, for whatever reason. It is Goodrich's senior night tonight, so we'll get one of two things out of them, and I won't express what that might be. Um, but for my girls, I think we rewatch. So because of our cancellation last week of Clio being moved to October 7th, we took kind of a day from practice to not just to keep the girls from being sore and bored and all those
Right.
things. I took them out of practice for a day, and we spent some time watching some film. So we rewatched we lost to Owasso the first time we played them in 5 sets, and then came back on Monday night and actually beat them in 3 sets. And just watching the film of like, here's a game that you lost by the same margin as a game that you won. But you guys were on one side and they were on the other in both of these, like situations. We watched that for both Owasso and Goodrich. And afterwards, I actually asked the girls, I said, I know you guys always have this overwhelming feeling of like, it's Goodrich, we can't win. And I said, but in watching what you just saw, I said, how do you feel? Like, do you feel like it's a team that watching it from outside of it on a tape is way different than being inside of it, And I
Right.
said, you get to see that from a coaching kind of perspective or outside view. Is this a team that you truly feel that you can't beat? And they all agreed, no, we think we can do it. It's just a matter of all of us being on at the same time. Like, we're going to have a fairly flawless game, no unforced errors, and really push the pressure onto them, right? Like, we're a really strong serving team, but if we can't keep the ball in the court because we're strong, because we're serving too strong, that's going to pose those problems. So it's really about gaining momentum on our side, and I think that they're prepared to do that.
Well, we're so excited to see what comes out of that. Good luck against Goodrich and with the rest of your season, Taryn. We hope you can catch us again in about 2 weeks to wrap up what your season's looking like. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, just one more thing. I want to just call out. We have our breast cancer research game on October the 8th. It's home. And we do a lot of extra stuff for that. So anybody that wants to come out and support us, bring a pair of warm socks as your entry fee. All funds. We actually do a bunch of raffles of, team baskets and things like that. But all funds actually go, to a local breast cancer, research and treatment, center here in Michigan. Because of the company that I work for in real life, we can take all of those donations and actually have them doubled by my company. So last year we donated over $2,000, and this year we're aiming for $3,000. So we'd love everyone's support to come out for such a great cause.
Wow, that's so cool. Well, we'll make sure to put down in the link below the summary of the October 8th breast cancer game. Thank you so much, Taryn. We'll make sure to get that out there. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to thank all the coaches for joining us, and certainly Griffin Makovich will be back with us next week. And don't forget, we've got homecoming a week, but good luck to the Blackhawks this week on the road to Clio.